そうとなれない。
We'll get started in about 3 minutes. Be an option for childcare. If you want to have your children down in the party area, we have volunteers that will interact with them, play games with them. We want to make sure that's set up first, but give us about 3 minutes and we'll start with the presentation. Part of all.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our SCANCA workshop. My name is Barbara Harrison. I am Vice President for the Sickle Cell Association of the National Capital Area Incorporated. We have quite a few of our board members here. Dr. Nicole Lee is one, the social worker who works at Howard University in the Department of Social Work. We have Ms. Madeline Taylor in the back, and she comes back there. We have Ms. Kathy McCoy, who you may not hear from her directly later, but you will hear about a program that she works with called PASS here in Prince George's County to support families with sickle cell disease. So you definitely would want to know about that. And then we have Ms. Denise Garner back there. She's also on our board. It was a social worker at Georgetown. Yeah. So, so many of you might be familiar that we've had our holiday party for many years, well over 10, 15 years probably, and we've moved around. So for those families that followed us all that time, we appreciate that. And so we thought it was important to include an educational component because we know that it's very important for us to just understand how our bodies, those with sickle cell disease, how they work, how we can be healthier, how we can live kind of our best lives. So we know that that goes well beyond the clinic and our hospital care. It goes into our lifestyle, it goes into our eating choices. So we're going to hear more about that today, and hopefully have a great discussion. So, I am going to go to that.
You have a here. So I think this is going to be a really exciting presenters that we have for you. The first group that I'm introducing now, Chardonée and Otmar, it's also but if you all have questions, we're going to have a Q&A after their presentation. Okay, so think of some questions that you have along the way. I'm very curious. Okay, all right, and I'm going to turn it over to Otmar.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Otmar, Otmar Donald. My wife is Chardonée Donald. And we're from On the Air Sickled. It's a podcast that I started to bring awareness and advocacy to the public, get guests, family members, sickle cell warriors, the physicians, the nurses on the show to talk about what it is that sickle cell really is about. Because there's, a lot of attention on cancer and Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's, and not enough information on sickle cell. So that's On Air Sickled. I'm the executive director of On Air Sickled as well, and my wife is the president of our board. She is also the founder of Pamoja Rooted, which is a nutrition-based organization to focus on sickle cell and immunocompromised diseases. And so she is my caregiver, but also our panel expert for the afternoon. So we had this argument that it's not really an argument, just heated discussion that she's a caregiver but not a caregiver because thankfully with her support I've been out of the hospital for she's gone on 3 years. And so that we do a start. So in some ways we are caring for each other and supporting one another in that supporting someone with sickle cell disease is care, right? Mentally, emotionally. And so but I'm not gonna take so much of our time, jump right into our presentation, but maybe you have anything to say.
So our first we first met 4 years ago. We got married 3 years ago. Trying to figure out what's going to work for the client, what's not going to work for the
time, I'm also a patient. I'm not a sickle cell patient, I'm a different patient. But I have to work with my own health and family members. I do have my beautiful sister here with me who's going to be helping me with the presentation, with supporting, with my mother and all that stuff. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for inviting us out. We're gonna go ahead and get started, okay? Can I have the first slide, please? So first of all, what is a nutritionist, a certified nutrition specialist? Registered dietitian. I've been in school for 12 years, and I'm still in school. Actually, going to PhD in integrated health right now, with a focus on sickle cell. But at the same time, there are artists that are out there. They go through the same process that we do. However, I'm in school a little bit longer. I have to start off with a master's degree in order to pass the bachelor's degree. They just now changed that one to where they can actually have a master's degree starting off this year. So they got a little bit of attention to do. However, I've been doing this for about 4.5 years at this point, but both of them are very, very important. The importance of the home. So a dietitian is somebody that you would go to while you're in the hospital. So pretty much what we actually have to do is figure out how can we get while Otmar is in the hospital. Basically, when he was in there, it was our great experience with kind of what started right dive into this. But basically, the easiest thing to do and remember is that an RD, the registered dietitian, works within a hospital setting. So pretty much you go to the emergency department, registered dietitian, kind of the same thing. So, but with the CNS, we are like the primary care physician. So after you get out of the hospital, that is when you become dive a little bit deeper into the RD2. They're supposed to actually help you get out of the hospital. I'm supposed to help keep you out of the hospital. That's the difference. Next slide. Nutritional guidance in hospital settings. I'm like, you want to talk about what happened? I think that.
Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about my experience. As Chardonée said, yes, I have sickle cell SS. There are many types of sickle cell other than SS. Some of you may know SS and SC. But one of the things that was most interesting to me in this journey was I'm overall a regular human being. I did wrestling in high school. I, was active in my church. Meeting friends and traveling. I was able to do all those things, but what I didn't know was that food was affecting me slowly and was one of the primary causes of me being in the hospital. So when Chardonée came into my life, she, started some things and changed some things. And what I saw happen was that the distance from me being from the emergency room to overnight stays had changed. And so they were giving me foods like, foods filled with sugar, cookies and cake and fried foods and fatty foods. And so we'll go into what those.
And that's how it's with nutritionists. I'll say it with things like I don't ever tell anybody that you can never have this thing. It is sparingly throughout your life. You know how to fix yourself after that and how to prepare before you even eat it. Okay, so that's kind of what other people, I'll just say that will tell you not to eat things at all. But that is not what I'm here to do. It's not. People aren't able to do that. If you tell somebody, oh, you're not able to ever have a nutrition, it's fine every single thing. The other one will be like, I'm not. Same thing with complicated. But at the same time, if you have it, a couple of times, there's nothing wrong.
So one of the challenges that you have to know for yourself, everyone says know your body, but you have to know the impact of the food that you're consuming. Chardonée says all the time, salad is not just a salad. Everybody's like, oh, I ate salad today. Yeah, but what was in the salad, right? And so know what you're putting in your body. So, like I said, they were giving, I had, cake, I had, fried chicken, I love fried chicken. I had fried chicken, I had, right? And some of these things, don't sound too horrible, like I said, unless you know what's in them. Like you were telling me about sugar alcohols that's in certain products. So I want to encourage everyone to read the label, because those ingredients can really do some damage to your organs, and
Next one. When you are in the hospital, if you know somebody who's sick, ask for a dietitian right away. If you're admitted, always want to ask first, hey, I need somebody on my team that's going to give you healthier options than what they are offering. And they are allowed to tailor the menu to the issues that you're having with your body as well. If you're telling them, hey, I also have been talking about sickle cell and diabetes, how it's rare to find somebody with that, but you still have that. They still need something that has lower sugar in it overall, but at the same time, they're going to need something that's low inflammation as well. So everything needs to be tailored to the person that is being cared for in the hospital. Okay, so ask for a dietitian. That's the very first thing. Next slide, please. Meal recommendations. When you're in the hospital, opt for low sodium, opt for low sugar, anything that has artificial sugars in it. So this way, remember, if something tastes sweet and it says that it's sugar free, it's a problem. Okay, unless it's coming from like a fruit powder or something like bananas or something like that. If it says that it's sugar free, do not get it. What happens is that when you go ahead and have those artificial sweeteners, it actually dehydrates yourself and it causes more sickling in the body. We did not find that out until like what date, because I was actually in the hospital for 2016. That one first. 26 days in the hospital. They were giving me diet soda every day, and I was trying to figure out what the link was. Because he just came up and gave that. After day 15, I'm like, oh, wait, sugar alcohol actually dry out the stuff. So, hey, don't give them any more of that stuff. Switch them over to a heart healthy diet on top of that while you're in here. You ended up having prednisone, which is a steroid.
so a little bit about that. This moment in time of what we're talking about, we're saying first time. We're talking about in 2022, January 2022, where I actually came down with COVID and the sickle cell crisis. And if you remember during this time, this was, we're kind of figuring out things with COVID and how it was affecting sickle cell, things to do, things not to do. I actually work in the nursing home industry, and so they were a very sensitive population that was affected by COVID. And throughout 2020, 2021, never had it. 2022 put me on my back. I was in the hospital for 26 days and went to the local hospital in which the hematologist actually said that they had no idea how to treat sickle cell. So from my hospital bed, I was trying to educate the physician on how to take care of me. Said, I don't know what you're gonna do about the COVID thing. You take care of the COVID thing, but I'll tell you what to do with sickle cell. And so my sugar level, my blood sugar was like 200. It was high because they were giving me steroids to take care of the COVID, but then that affected the sickle cell.
All of the sugary foods, even the sugar alcohol, have inflammation all over his body. So like even with the PCA pump, he's not getting better. While I'm there for like 20 days, we're still trying to figure out how to get this better. Why is the PCA pump not working? All of the other medications, the anti-inflammatories that they had on were not working. Finally, we figured out that it was going to. So when you're in the hospital, you always want to go for nutrients and foods that actually have a lot of minerals, a lot of vitamins and nutrients in them. You have limited options here in the hospital. You can do salmon, you can do baked chicken, broccoli, brown rice, all of the stuff that you typically would not eat. You're putting your own seasonings from just trying to eat. Okay, so you know, I would always have like some stuff in my bag. But also when I would do from home, I would bring in some turmeric, which is also anti-inflammatory. Ginger, my dad was actually a caterer. So I love cooking. So I can do this a little bit, make this taste pretty good.
Some of the things that she puts in my food, she tells me I'm probably going to be the worst patient. So she just has to kind of sneak it in there. I like curry chicken. Anybody else like curry chicken? Yeah, okay, all right. I got family in the room. Yeah, so she will put turmeric in my curry chicken. I would never know. But all the while she put the turmeric in there and it actually was helping my ferritin. Because my ferritin level was at like 8,800. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Transport at that point. And it got pretty bad. See if this helps. I know that with they're not gonna say if I run a medication, it's gonna be a problem. But if I'm bringing the spices and things like that I know I'm gonna help the inflammation, it can be a problem. So when it came down to his recovery, he had like more broccoli, green beans,
I was trying to, but yeah, broccoli, green beans, well, so I learned that the chicken was actually, I had to step away from the fried chicken and get grilled chicken because the fried chicken was actually causing inflammation in the body.
which is a trigger. So
Which is definitely a
find out
trigger.
what your triggers are. That's going to be a big deal. Yes. We just found out what another trigger is for you, right? The lemonade.
Oh, yeah. All right, so Popeyes, anybody like Popeyes? Oh, yeah, I knew I was. So when I eat Popeyes chicken, I have to take ibuprofen immediately or beforehand. I learned that maybe about 2 years ago. I'm always going into a crisis after I eat Popeyes chicken. I'm not eating Popeyes anymore, but I don't like KFC. And I'm adamant about it. I'm not going to KFC. And so Chardonée had educated me on like what's the inflammation that's causing this. And so I switched that up instead of getting the Popeyes chicken fried, crunchy, delicious. I went more so grilled, went more grilled, and ate more fish.
Fish. You have to have a balance. If you have more of the omega-6, your body can be inflamed. If you have more of the omega-9, your body can be inflamed. So you want to have that at a good set point. Typically, you do eat a lot of fish. Try to take fish away. You try to because they're big. Those are some big pills. However, getting in as much fish as possible during the week actually can help with inflammation and also bringing down pain levels as well. Next slide. Long-term care, that's me. So when you get out of the hospital, you want to find something or someone that is a CNS. Now, all of us, we do not take insurance, but there are some people in the region, in the Maryland area or in Virginia, who will do telehealth, and they will actually take some insurance. Sometimes you want to just try to see, like, hey, is there a CNS in the area that will actually take my insurance? Because what we're going to do, we're going to break stuff all the way down on the second one. I have taken 7 biochemistry classes, which I did not want to do. Very clear on that. However, it helps me to understand how food is being broken down in the body. So basically, if Otmar tells me, hey, I have sugar in it, I'm just going to look at it like, okay, so that is sugar, you have the inflammation growing because of that. Then on top of that, there is a little bit of protein in there because of it. So I'm not just going to be like, well, you shouldn't have had you got Snickers versus that, you ain't paying for Snickers. I've been paying those, or what do I do? What do I tell you? Every time. Because he knows what to do with this. What do you typically do?
So,
About stores?
so now what I do is I get this lovely cup of water, not just any kind of water, which we'll talk about a little later, but I get water, and then in the water, I put Celtic salt, and that helps with electrolytes, and then I also, at times, not all the time, but at times, I'll put cayenne pepper drops in my water, and that actually helps to get increased blood flow. So if you have cayenne pepper droplets, I would encourage you to, if you don't, get some, put it in your water. It's a little spicy going down, but trust me, it really helps.
The expert will do it to 10. However, every restraint is like, people will say, oh, well, you're not supposed to spice it when your stomach is hurting. Yeah, no, that's not how that works. Cayenne pepper actually helps to heal the stomach. It does not cause that's opposite. It causes a cooling effect to actually start regenerating healthy cells. Yes. So we do the cayenne pepper, and as soon as you see something, baby, I'm starting to feel something like, okay, we'll get you some the healthy sea salt, which also, by the way, the one that we use is what's Selena naturally. That one has 88 minerals and 100 nutrients that we actually need to provide on a daily basis. We take a pinch of that, put it in some water. We also
Just a pinch, please don't put a whole lot.
you can still cook with it too if you don't like water or anything. You can still cook with it as well. It's still in the same. But basically, put that in there. When it comes down to what I do, I get labs, and I'm gonna look at them, and I'm gonna say, okay, your body is trending in this direction. You're headed towards a really big crisis at this point. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna implement some of this, and everything is tailored to each person. I do not ever give two people the exact same plan. I don't do that. And I do not do diets. That's the other thing. Hate them. Passion, lifestyle, and that is taking micro steps to get to a healthier point in your life. Sometimes it can take up to a month for somebody to make a simple change, such as instead of using a particular salt to switch over to a different type of salt. So it just kind of depends on the person, the body, how to describe if there's other comorbidities, which means other disorders in the body as well as sickle cell. But if you have Moy syndrome on top of that, which is another reason why we have to kind of focus on board. Otmar is now taking like 7 medications and now you're down to 2. You're down to your folic acid. It's one. Oh, that's it.
Folic acid and Oxybrita was cool, right? Oxybrita was cool. I was on Oxybrita. Oxybrita I thought was working for me, and in some ways it actually was, but in some ways I realized it wasn't. But Oxybrita was cool, and hydroxyurea. Anybody on hydroxyurea? All right. How many people hydroxyurea works for you? No idea, right? For me, hydroxyurea, I'm just going to be honest, my doctor's not again. Hydroxyurea wasn't working for me like I thought that it was going to. They put me on that. Okay, so that actually put me in a crisis. But somebody else that I talked to, that was working for them. And Oxybrita was not working for them, Oxybrita was working for me. So when she's talking about not, you can't do the same plan for the same person, it's literally that. How many of you all know that there's like over 100 different variants of sickle cell? Right? So, and they only test for like 2, right? And then in the physician book when they're in school, there's probably like 2 pages on sickle cell. So you really have to be the expert for your body and knowing what works, what doesn't work, knowing what it means to advocate for yourself, and be able to have that evidence to be able to tell your doctor, hey, look, this is why this is not working for me. Okay. When I was in the hospital for those 26 days, I had one team of doctors, and then I thought I was going to die. because they weren't listening to me. And somehow my wife wound up firing one team and hiring a whole other team, and she never made it to the hospital once. So you gotta have those that support with you.
Make sure if your team is not working for you, they're not working. Okay? If you need to get a whole bunch of doctors on board, do that. Don't be afraid to ask. They worked for you when you were in the hospital. Okay? So if something is not working for you and they're not listening to you, you need somebody to advocate for you. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later, but advocate for yourself on top of that. So, hey, you're not listening to me. I'd like another doctor, or I would like to give you another opportunity to fix this. But if we're not going to be on the same team for my life, then I can't have you here. Okay? Next slide, please. All right, so the importance of nutrient-dense foods. Again, we talked about those vitamins and minerals and nutrients that your body needs while you're in and out of the hospital. A lot of different medications can cause nutrient depletion. That is why you want to have that on board. It's not just because you just want to live longer and just eat healthier. It's because your body actually needs more of those nutrients. When you have sickle cell, your body ages rapidly. Okay? So you want to have those things in your body still at the present time and making sure that they're regenerating over and over and over again by the foods that you are having. Because if you just keep giving your body trash foods, at some point your cells are going to start breaking down. Your muscles are going to start breaking down. So you want to make sure that you have things on board. You have like leafy greens, we have peanut butter for protein. What else?
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
So the first thing that the very first thing I implemented was bok choy.
Yeah, so I never heard about choy, didn't know what that was. Doesn't look exactly pleasing either, but it tastes real good. And so eating that actually helped. Eating green foods especially help with like the iron. Yeah.
Very rich in iron and helps with producing healthy benefits. So we're going to get into some of those foods too that actually help to produce healthy chemicals. Next slide, please. So first, we already talked about the artificial sugars. So some of the artificial sugars is Splenda, Truvia, stevia. A lot of people think that stevia is in everything at this point. But a lot of people think that it's actually healthy for your body. It's not. It is not. It does not get processed the way that it's supposed to in your body. But it's not going to make your blood sugar go up, but it is going to cause inflammation. Okay. And then the sugar alcohols, the xylitol, erythritol, mannitol, sorbitol. Those things are going to be in the sugar-free beverages. That is what I'm talking about. If you see any one of those names in your food items or in your beverages, run. It's going to cause a lot of dehydration in your body. So, like I said, the good rule is if it tastes sweet, there's no sugar, most likely artificial sugar or sugar alcohol present. Next slide. So blood support. So everybody knows when it comes down to sickle cell, you're supposed to have foods that are supposed to support your blood. Did they tell you all what types of foods you're supposed to have? What are some of the things that they tell you to avoid?
I might say hot sauce.
I never heard that. That's good. But basically, what you want to do, you want to find somebody that's going to be on your team that can actually help break down some of those foods that are actually healthy for you. Next slide, please. So, you got your peanut butter, beets. Now, here's the thing. Woo! I am a very picky person when it comes to my food. Beets are one of those things that I just cannot stand. One of those things. However, but yeah, like, hey, drink this real quick. We make fresh juices that help sometimes too. We make smoothies. It's so easy, especially for parents if you have children. One of the easiest things to do is actually make a smoothie, put extra fruit and vegetables in it, and then they will know. Beets, though, that's going to be a little hard to cover up, but you can cover it up with ginger, which is another anti-inflammatory food that you can introduce. That's one of the things that we do for Otmar. We also do brown rice instead of white rice. White rice actually breaks down into straight sugar in the body, which is going to lead to more inflammation. You can do jasmine rice, jasmine brown rice, basmati rice, which is straight white rice. It's not helpful for the body. We do pomegranate juice, leafy greens, eggs, green peas. There's another pea called pigeon peas. It does not sound appealing. However, they taste wonderful, especially if you put them in with some turkey necks. So we had that.
And that's dinner last night.
Dinner last night. We do that here in the eggs. That's but you eat a lot of chicken. We do organic foods as much as possible. Sometimes we can't, but that's still okay as long as you're getting that protein in. You guys actually need more protein. Your body needs more protein than anything. And that's including water, because if you do not have enough protein, your muscles are actually going to start breaking down. Your organs are going to start breaking down. Your body is comprised of water and different types of proteins. Now, the energy comes from different types of sugars in your body that get processed. The first one is glucose. Your brain needs more glucose. So if somebody says, oh, I'm on a sugar-free diet, I'm like, okay, how's your brain? Well, I have a lot of brain fog, yep, because your body's actually supposed to have sugar, a little bit of it, but you need the right types of sugar. So you get those sugars from different types of fruits that you would need to eat, not white processed sugars. You can even do something called a date sugar. There are dates that are out there. It's a simple thing to do. You put them in a food processor, pulse it a couple times, it turns into like a brown sugar texture. Super simple, and it's a whole food as well. It's very, very sweet. We also do coconut sugar. That's another one. These are things that do not send him into a crisis or cause sickling. Next slide, please. Okay, so herbs. We have ginger, we have calendula, and turmeric. Those are the top things that we use in our house. I cook with them a lot. The calendula, I actually have some teas that I use for that. When Otmar was in pain, this is kind of, I have a tea business, and I actually made a new tea specifically for him to help with pain. What happened when you had big tea, sir?
All right, first of all, I'm not a tea drinker, I'm more of a coffee drinker. And so when I tasted this tea, I was like, first of all, it tastes good, it's smooth, and I happened to be in a crisis when I sampled it. And that tea took the edge off. It did not eliminate it. I think this is really important for us to say, hey, look, we're not going to give you this tea and your sickle cells and pain will be gone. But it definitely took the edge off. I was able to sleep, relax, and go to work the next day.
Literally,
Rest of the stores, the name.
Yeah, rest of the store.
Yeah.
Calendula is what is the driving ingredient in that, and even if you find it by itself on Amazon, that's something that's really good to have on hand, regardless, for any type of pain, arthritic pain, bone pain, headaches, migraines, anything like that, muscular pain after working out. I tell people, okay, have a little bit of calendula tea afterwards and see how you feel. You can have up to 3 cups in a day, but it will make you sleepy because he was knocked out in 5 minutes. And I have proof. My sister and my mom were on the phone with us. They're like, sir, are you okay? Like, what is it going on?
Sleepy.
You made it very sleepy. And again, we did talk about the cayenne pepper earlier, increasing blood flow. However, this is extremely important. If you are on a blood thinner, you cannot have too much cayenne pepper. If you still want spicy foods and all of that in your diet, make sure you talk to your nutritionist or dietitian and say, hey, I'm on Eliquis, but I'm also fish oil is another one that's actually going to cause blood thinning. Same thing with Advil, ibuprofen, that also causes blood thinning. So you have to make sure that you're telling your doctors everything that you're on, because by the time we go to look at your chart, we're going to be like, oh, okay, you're on this, and this, but this is going to cause more blood thinning, which is going to lead to this issue, which is a brain bleed or a bleed in your body somewhere if you're not paying attention. Okay, and this is why having a CNS on board is important, because we're going to look at those different connections. Most doctors and RDs are just going to look at your chart and say, like, okay, this is the type of food you should be eating. This is the type of food you're not supposed to be eating. But I'm going to look at those connections between the interactions between different foods, medications, and supplements. Next. Okay, other herbs that we're going to talk about. Magnesium. Magnesium is one of my favorite things. It is used in more than 300 reactions in the body. There are different forms and different types of magnesium, okay? But a lot of people know about magnesium citrate, and it makes you do what? It makes you go to the restroom. But there are a bunch of other ones that are out there. One of the ones that I actually like is called Bio-Optimizers Magnesium. It has 8 different forms of magnesium in it. One of them is called magnesium glycinate. That is actually for gut support, but it's also for inflammation as well. Magnesium taurate is another one that is for heart health and also inflammation. So you want different forms of magnesium on board, and this is one of the easiest ways of magnesium breakthrough by Bio-Optimizers is one of the best ways to do that. Then there's chlorophyll. Has anybody tried chlorophyll before? Okay, so if you do not know, chlorophyll actually helps create healthy red blood cells in your bone marrow. Okay, so that was one of the other things we introduced into your diet, right? We had some chlorophyll drops. That does not mean that you have to go out and eat a whole bunch of spinach, but we got the drops, you just put it in some water, and that was one of the things that we introduced to as far as when we were in a crisis. We got that on the board, so his body would start making healthier red blood cells to crowd out the sickle cells. Okay. Then we have vitamins A, C, E, D, zinc, and B6. All of those are commonly deficient when it comes to sickle cell. So most people, and they don't tell you these things because they don't know. So unless you ask for a vitamin panel or you go to the CMS and say like, hey, I'd like to know what's going on with my body. I don't know where to start. The very first thing we're going to do is figure out, okay, what are you deficient in? These are the common ones as of 2023 that we have found are actually missing when it comes to sickle cell support. Okay, and then quercetin is another one. This actually reduces hypoxia or low oxygen levels in the body. So what you want to do, instead of having vitamin C when it comes to boosting your immune system, you want to have quercetin on board. Okay, and there are a couple journal articles as well that talk about quercetin being beneficial for sickle cell. And then if you're going to do anything liquid, make sure that it is not, if you can help it, make sure that it's not any base of alcohol. Okay, and that is a big trigger for people with sickle cell. Yes.
I wanted to also highlight the antioxidants. And you gotta keep your immune system up. So, like for me, I don't have spleen, and spleen helps to, helps to fight off infections. So because I don't have one in particular, it's really important that my immune system remains high. So when COVID hit, everyone was really concerned about, how am I doing, how am I responding, more than just the sickle cell pain, but because COVID is infection, right? And so everyone, if you need to figure out what helps your immune system, make sure that you are paying attention to this slide in particular because you want that extra boost in your body.
Especially since we're going into the flu season right now, it's very, very important to keep your immune system up, even with foods, not just having the flu shot or the COVID shot or anything like that, but making sure that you have things in your body. If you did catch it, these things are going to help fight it right away. So you don't have to go to the hospital. Next slide, please. Hydration. This is the average. How many people were told, I'm going to need you to drink more water and stay hydrated? Every time you go into the hospital or to the doctor's office.
How many of y'all still going into the hospital?
Listen, here's the thing. Water does matter, but the type of water that you're drinking matters. There is something that's called dead water and live water. Here's the thing. I always want to get into that a little bit because this is his favorite topic. And you can go quickly through it.
Oh, yeah.
Promise?
I promise.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All right. I've been waiting for this slide. Okay. So just trying to set that. Anyway, so she was talking about live water and dead water. And so the type of water that I'm drinking is alkaline water. But it's also osmosis reverse.
So
okay. All right, well, before you get to that. So what happened was what happened was Chardonnée, I'm really into like politics, so I watch a lot of political documentaries and everything like that. I don't watch too many documentaries or anything else. But Chardonnée introduced me to this documentary that I would encourage all of you to watch. It's called Sickled. Oh my, have you seen it? Yeah? Heard it, yeah.
Yes.
That presentation is so amazing because it shows you how water really affects your body. Also, the types of fluids that you get. So sometimes when you get fluids in the hospital, you blow up like a blowfish. It's because you're getting too much of the wrong fluids. So you have to see exactly what fluids your body is receiving. What you're drinking is important. It's the type of water. I say away from the Dasani. That's personal. Sorry, not the Dasani flavor. But get your alkaline water. Okay, get your alkaline water in your system. I really think that was a major change in my life that helped to keep me out of the hospital.
So one of the things that we did, because alkaline water is expensive, okay, it is $6 for a gallon, and it's absolutely absurd. So what we do, if you are in the area and you know of a Mom's Organic Market that's nearby, one of the things that we did was we took some 5-gallon jugs, and we have about 6 of them, seven. We have 7 of them in the house at a time now at this point. But we take those 5-gallon jugs, find somebody that is strong as I'll get out, they're heavy. You take that over to Mom's Market and they'll allow you to fill it up with alkaline water. And it only costs $5 for 5 gallons. So literally we get that, and then we got a little dispenser for what, $12 off of Amazon. You push the little button and we fill up our jugs all day long. We have one of the things,
ice machine too.
we do have an ice machine. But one of the things that I do, I keep a 64-ounce jug of water with me. We keep that Celtic salt on hand, or we have another form of electrolytes that we put in our water. Otmar keeps his with him. I don't know why you don't have your 64-ounce today. You don't have way too
I'm
much.
supporting that on air system.
That's fine. But he keeps his water jug with him as well. Whenever we are going out places, we keep them in the car. We'll fill them up before we go somewhere, especially in the summertime. In the wintertime too, you keep your water on hand. That was one of the first things that we saw did rolling him out of a crisis immediately was having the right fluids on board. So if you're drinking water and you're noticing like, oh my gosh, you're still thirsty, this is not working, I don't know what to do, grab some alkaline water. You'll start to notice a difference. Okay.
And normally it's right on. So if you go into like a Wawa gas station or a 7-Eleven, you'll see alkaline on the front of the bottle. And so that's one great indicator. That's the water.
And the pH that's needed is 8.8 and above. It has to be that because that is the therapeutic usage for alkaline water. If it's less than that, it's okay to have on board. However, it has to be that 8.8 to start helping with pain and inflammation. Next slide, please. All right, natural sources of electrolytes. Ooh, bless them. All right, so that first one that we have is the coconut water. Y'all see it. Who likes coconut water? We got 3 people. Okay, that stuff is gross. I'm sorry, but I was just told that I might have had a bad coconut water, so I don't know. It all to me. But that was another thing that we implemented for Otmar, just right on way. If we were out someplace and we couldn't get the alkaline water, the next thing that we went to was coconut water or noble cactus water. Now that cactus water is a whole other ministry. Oh, bless your life. It literally, it's like a fruity taste to it, but it's not overpowering. It's not overly sweet. It's naturally sweet by itself, so it does not have any added sugars or anything like that. So in order to stay hydrated, you can have these options as well. Okay, but it's going to give you those minerals that your body needs. Also, minerals actually help to keep your bones from decaying on top of that. So is there anybody here with avascular necrosis? Or going towards that direction? That's one of the things that we had to deal with Otmar was the avascular necrosis of his hips. So we got some calcium on board. And by the way, your bones are not only made out of calcium, you know you do not have to get it from dairy. Dairy actually causes inflammation in the body. So we stay away from milk, cheese, ice cream, stuff like that. However, he loves macaroni and cheese. So
I got like my fried chicken.
you're black. That's okay. That's okay. But we still have to, he still has, like, we just had it for Thanksgiving. We're probably gonna have it for Christmas again too. But again,
Praise
no,
God.
you could do this. But knowing what to have on board, so what we'll do, I'll probably have him drink some coconut water or some alkaline water beforehand. And he's probably going to take some quercetin, some cayenne pepper. What else do you take?
Also the liquor drops also.
But well, that's for you.
Right. I know.
That's for you. Has anybody heard of hemochromatosis or an overabundance of iron in the liver? Basically, that is what he has. His ferritin levels, again, we're at 8,800. That is when they were talking about doing a liver transplant. What we ended up doing was getting some liver drops and some turmeric. Turmeric actually helps to bring down the ferritin level. As of last month, you are now at 500. Yeah, 500. You're supposed to be down between 0 and 44. However, people who have sickle cell, the cells regenerate rapidly. So being around that 200, 500 range is actually okay. Okay. So he no longer has to have, he's no longer on the transplant list, which is fantastic. Okay. All right. Care about being a whole and better you. Nobody knows you better than you do. I don't care how big it's sorry, Mom. Love you. But if you know that in your body something is wrong, speak up. You are allowed to have a voice. You are allowed to have an opinion about your body and about your care. That is, we do not want people walking around here being depressed, feeling like they are alone all the time. And that's what it is. Our heart is actually a life coach, okay? And even with that, he still has struggles sometimes. If he's in a crisis and it's really bad, we haven't had a really bad crisis in what, 3 years? We haven't had a really bad one in about 3 years. But that last one, he's like, all right, I'm about done. I'm about done with this. And I found just last week, after doing some research myself, 90% of sickle cell patients want to take their life. And that saddens me deeply because it's like, okay, that pain is so great that you want every single time you declare, I want to get out of here, God. I want to get out. By the way, if you are not a Christian, I'm sorry, we are. Our is actually a minister, so we love Jesus up here. But that's one of the things that keeps us going is making sure that we have a good support system around us. My mom, my sister, there's some praying folks. So we're like, hey, I'm in a crisis, can you please pray real quick? Or I'll text somebody else, hey, Alvar's in a crisis, just put him on prayer list. He's not on the sick and shut-in list, praise the Lord. But at the same time, making sure you have a really, really good support system. And then caregivers. Hey, being a caregiver, especially when you have never done this before, is one of the hardest things you will ever go through in your life. And seeing somebody that you love struggle like that and not being able to do anything about it, you're trying to scramble and figure out, oh my gosh, do you need a blanket? Do you need more water? Do you need more this? Can I take away the pain from you, knowing that you cannot take away the pain? It's hurtful. Make sure you have people on your team as well that are going to understand from a caregiver position. Okay.
Where are the caregivers in here?
Please,
Where are the caregivers?
round of applause for the caregivers, please.
I just want to say thank you. I think that when one of the things that I try to do if I'm ever in the emergency room and the nurses come into my aid, they're stumbling over, the tape and make sure they have all their vials and all. Thank you. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. But the caregivers don't hear that often. So I want to take time to say thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for what you do. And thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you.
And then another thing too, for those of you all who do have sickle cell, you're supposed to be here. Let me be very, very clear about that. And I get very serious about that because everybody has a purpose on this earth. It does not matter what it is. I don't care what it is. But you're here for a reason. Your story is supposed to be out there for a reason. Even if it is just for a short while, that's not what we want. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to be here. So telling yourself, I want to get up out of here, or telling a loved one, even in pain, I can understand that in pain, but even afterwards, start changing your confession. Why am I going through this? Who is this for? I learned that the hard way myself, and after just dealing with illness after illness myself. Why am I going through this? Only 15 years later, learning that I was actually going to be a nutritionist, helping the very people with the same type of disorders that I have or had at this point. I used to be type 2 diabetic. I don't have diabetes anymore. I still have some lasting effects from it, but now I'm able to help those people. I'm always able to talk to other people with sickle cell, saying, hey, you can live with this. You don't have to die with it. Live your life to live. Don't live to die. Don't live to wait on dying. And that was one of the mindsets that Otmar had to change. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, she said 90% of people want to take their life. I was one of the 90%. I'm happy to say that obviously I'm here. But it was a struggle, and I'm talking about not just as an adult. I'm talking about maybe 14 years old, not understanding why right? Not understanding why I have to go through this. I didn't ask for this. What did I do wrong? That feeling of guilt, right? Something that I can't really control. At least that's what my mindset was. And I didn't know that I could control it until I became an adult and I was educated. But I felt like I had no power. I couldn't hang out with friends. I couldn't go to family events. I couldn't travel in the wintertime, right? So all those things, I was so restricted, and you just feel like you have no worth and no value. But you do. You do. I'll never forget me being in a hospital bed, and I was singing, and I got a phone call from a friend of my mother's, and she said, "You're an inspiration." And I'm just like, "I don't understand what you mean." And she said, I'm up here complaining about a headache, but you're dealing with sickle cell, and yet you're in the hospital bed and you're singing to keep yourself up and going. And you're encouraging me, or I'm here not in the hospital, I don't have needles attached to me, and I'm complaining about a headache, but this can take your life. And so I'm here to say that not only are you supposed to be here, but you never know who's watching you and what impact you're making there. And therapy is okay. I thought that with a passion. Therapy is okay. If you don't have a therapist, you need a therapist.
I would say everybody needs a therapist. Everybody needs a therapist. Needs somebody to talk to that is unbiased. That's somebody that you do not know, just so they can give you a whole other perspective. Find somebody that knows what you're dealing with, though. That's a big thing. But having negative behaviors leads to negative eating and stress eating. Stress causes inflammation, which can trigger a sickle cell crisis. So that's why I say we want to make sure that your mental health is also okay. Next slide, please. All right, we already talked a little bit about that. So personalized dietary practices, just making sure that your food is tailored to you, or the dietary lifestyle that you want to live is tailored to you. Next slide, please. All right, understanding diet types. Anybody ever been on a diet before? No, not good. It's very restricted, which is why I hate them. So basically, there are different types of diets. You'll hear low sodium, you'll hear DASH diet, you'll hear ketogenic diet. And for those who are trying to lose weight, FYI, free information. If you stay on a ketogenic diet for too long, your body will become too acidic, and then you're going to end up getting all that weight back by the time you actually come off of it. So just be careful with that. As far as the low sodium and low sugar, that is what you guys need the most. However, that does not mean that cravings do not exist. If you are craving certain things too, like let's say you're craving chocolate, that means that you are deficient in magnesium. Okay? There are certain things, certain cravings that mean, hey, you're deficient in this mineral or nutrient or in this vitamin. Okay? So making sure that you know what diets are, knowing what bad diets are. If you hear everybody on the same diet going around, that means it's a bad diet. It's gonna be out of style probably by next week. But at the same time, know the pros and cons to them as well. Anti-inflammatory diets do exist as well, but I tell everybody to just do a whole food plant-based approach. Eating more plant-based foods does not mean that you have to be vegan. Okay, it just means eat more of the fruits and vegetables than you are eating meat, because pork and meat can actually start causing inflammation in your body too. Okay, so you want to have less of that, more fish, more chicken, more turkey, lean meats. Next slide, please. Western diet. This is what we have here. Okay, overseas, you'll see more of the foods that are on the right side. The foods that we have here in the US are going to be these fatty foods that are here. All of these lead to inflammation and sickling cells. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're having more of these fruits and vegetables. Like I said, even if they are cooked, that's okay. If they're not cooked, that's fine too, but you can also have it in the form of a smoothie. Next slide, please. Long-term lifestyle adjustments, we just talked about that, having plant-based options to reduce the inflammation and manage overall health and wellness as well. Next slide. And then hey, can I tell you your story really quickly?
Yeah, so I'll just be quick with it. So just so that everyone knows, so I started off the conversation letting everyone know that I have sickle cell SS. I actually had my first pain crisis at 8 months old. And I was born to a young mother, and she was only 18. And at the time, she was going to school for, I don't remember what her major was initially, but when she found out that she was going to have a child with sickle cell, she tried to educate herself as much as possible. And so just imagine you taking care of your child, right? You do all the things that you were taught to do. Change the diaper, you feed the baby, you try to rock it to sleep, and the baby's still crying and in pain, right? And so as a young mother, she had to learn very quickly what sickle cell was and find help. I had my spleen removed when I was 2. I had a stroke that came with seizures when I was 5. From age 5 to 14, I was constantly at Children's Hospital, getting blood transfusions once a month. I had home infusions where I had to stick myself with a needle. My mom worked overnight, so I was at home. Sticking myself with a needle, sleep with a pump to control my iron. And then I was on XJ, which then became Chardonée. So I was on all these medications, hydroxyurea, and I was still in and out of the hospital constantly. One of the things that my mom would tell me though was, Otmar, I can't be here tonight after work in the morning. I need you to open up your mouth and say something. If you need something, say something. I'm like, Mom, I can't do it, I can't do it. They won't listen to me, right? I'm a kid in the hospital and put on my call light, and it takes them forever to come. I fall asleep in pain with my call light on, and finally they come and they give me medication. So I began to, in every way, to try to show my gratefulness and show my appreciation to the care that I did receive. I found myself getting frustrated, right? Frustrated because my voice wasn't being heard, frustrated because they weren't giving me the medication on time, frustrated because it's everybody else's story. You are trying to tell the doctors and the nurses what you need, and it seems like it's taking them 5 years and a day to get you what you need. And your child or you yourself, you're in agonizing pain. That was me. And so you can understand why that percentage of 90% of people with sickle cell want to take their life. They don't want to be here. They don't want to deal with this, right? And so, backtrack, I was previously married. In that marriage, I was still in and out of the hospital. There was limited understanding of exactly what I needed, when I needed it, and how to overcome it. My stress level was high. And a lot of that was to, like I said, the lack of understanding of what was really happening to my body. When I met Chardonée, she started learning. Actually, her first experience with me in the crisis, she was overwhelmed, I think. Just seeing that, just seeing that, in action, and from beginning to end, that whole process. It's not something that I would put on anyone to experience. And I would feel bad in pain, in the fetal position, on the floor, trying to encourage her. It's gonna be okay. I just need this. It's gonna be okay. Ow, 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 I need this. She's like, okay, all right, wait, and there's panic, right? And so while I'm trying to be controlled, but I'm the one that needs to cope, it's kind of hard to self-manage. Anyway, we got married in 21, and in 22 January, I came down with COVID and pain crisis. And I thought that I was going to die. Maybe about halfway through my overnight stay there. The doctors, again, they were going to treat the COVID, but they weren't listening to me. I said, listen, if my hemoglobin goes to a 7, I need a blood transfusion. Oh, well, the national guideline says that, the hemoglobin should probably be at like a 6 before we transfuse. I'm like, please don't wait till my hemoglobin drops to a 6, because I don't know what happens when it gets that low. I know when it gets to a 7, I'm in agonizing pain and I need blood transfusion. My hemoglobin dropped to a 7, dropped to a 6.8. Had a conversation with the doctor. I said, hey, when are we going to get the blood transfusion? Well, there's a national shortage, which there is, but we're working on getting you the blood transfusion. Hemoglobin drops to a 6.5. Hemoglobin drops to a 6.3. Hemoglobin drops to a 5.2, and I'm delirious. I'm not making sense. My wife can't come into the hospital. My wife can't come to the hospital to help me and to advocate for me. I literally called her and I said, babe, I think this is it. I think I'm going to. And I felt alone. And I remember being on the phone with Chardonée and my sister-in-law, and them encouraging me. And really, all the right things they were saying was going in through one ear and another, because this was my body. This is what was happening. And it hurt to be able to admit that, because I always have a positive attitude when I'm going through pain crisis. Oh, I'll be home soon. Oh, they're gonna discharge me later on this week. They'll discharge me tomorrow. And it soon came. Later on this week came, and tomorrow came, and I was still in the hospital. And at the time, I was the primary worker in the house, and so I couldn't go to work. So my wife was taking care of me, trying to get me back to strength. My legs, I'm already not that big, but my legs were like a pencil. I could not stand. I was on a walker. I was on a concentrator. Throughout that time, that hospital stay, Chardonée was actually reaching out to Sickle Cell organizations to try to get help and try to research and try to see, what she could do to try to get me the support that I need.
Oh, sorry. We got to do a wardrobe change. Wardrobe change.
Oh, I can't wardrobe change, but I can show you all something.
This is Sickle Cell Medical Advocacy. This is who I actually reached out to. And Otmar's going to talk a little bit more about that. This is basically his Superman shirt.
Yeah, so Sickle Cell Medical Advocacy actually helps support Chardonée in more ways than one. And we didn't realize Sickle Cell Medical Advocacy was going to be what we needed in our lives to, one, feel like we were making that impact that we've always desired, right? And so Dr. Simone, the founder, co-founder of Sickle Cell Medical Advocacy, she actually retired early because she is not only a physician, but she's a warrior. She's also a sickle cell patient. And so she works Sickle Cell Medical Advocacy, teaching patients and teaching caregivers and instructors about sickle cell, right? And so through that, she actually certifies what she calls navigators. The organization calls them navigators, or what you would know as advocates. We've changed that title from advocates to navigators because we want to help you navigate the medical system, say the right thing at the right time, right, and get the right care. And so she has a certification course as a platform that she uses where sickle cell patients who want to help other sickle cell patients, you could be a sickle cell navigator. You're a mom, a friend, a dad, a brother, a sister, and you want to help the sickle cell community, SCMA is that organization for you. On Air Sickled was birthed from this frustration as well. I'm sorry?
The next slide, please.
Oh, on the Air Sickled was born from this frustration as well. You know, they're not listening to me. They're not hearing me, right? And so I remember being home, recovering, and Chardonée laying next to me, and she's like, I want to go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, and I'm on my phone, right? And I'm drawing. And what I did was I drew this image, and I fell asleep. And I woke up back to this image, and I was like, this is it. Sean was like, what are you doing? Why can't you go to sleep? I'm like, babe, they put all this attention on cancer research. They put all this attention on Parkinson's. They put all this attention on dementia, Alzheimer's, all these different diseases, right? And there's no shades of those diseases. Education on them is important, but you don't hear enough information about sickle cell. Why? Why is it that I went to a hospital where the hematologist said, I don't know how to take care of sickle cell? That's a problem. So because our voices aren't heard, I want to give a space for the warrior, their family members, the caregivers, the friends, the physicians, the nurses, I want to give a platform for all of them to come onto the show. And since I think in my heart, I'm a radio personality, even though I've never been on the radio, I'm going to create a podcast where those people can come in and share their story. And so this QR code, if you scan this QR code, you'll be able to go to onairsickled.com. There's an opportunity for you to click the link at the very top. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, our team will reach out to you and get in touch.
If you want to talk to us afterwards too, do you have a table out there to look at the window?
Yeah.
So we go to the next slide really quickly, and this is we're going to end on this. This is Pamoja rooted. So Pamoja is Swahili for together. So it's together rooted because I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're by themselves ever again. So if you would like to have nutrition support or just have a question about something, you can always email me. This is my QR code. Again, we can be out there talking a little bit more about it. But I appreciate you all standing out here and listening to our story. And hopefully we gave you a little bit of encouragement as well. Thank you to everyone again. And you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't like it going over a little bit because it was really useful information. They do have a vendor table downstairs. The next group of speakers are coming just to drop a little bit of information. Give you all a little bit of information. So I have Sherry.